Is there anything better than collecting vintage tabletop sports games, vintage tabletop war games? Of course, the new stuff is beautiful. It's robust in terms of components, and print quality has never been better. But man, such a huge part, for instance, of the APPA aesthetic is the big, nearly square box. As a designer, that's something that's always intriguing. We're usually stuck with the 8.5 by 11, or if you're, a tabloid designer, 11 by 17 sometimes. As they changed in the newspaper world, the web size, the tabloid kind of got a little squarer at times. I did a visual design guide where I emphasized a square design. Not the easiest thing to print, I can tell you that, but it is certainly fun to design. It's a challenge. Not that this is a perfect square, obviously, but it's so close. Now, in terms of APPA football, we know that the beautiful red and white box, you are the coach, realistically and scientifically, no less. Elegant design, crisp, beautiful. Now, as we started creating an APPA football handbook, almost 10 years ago, none has existed. There's a very brief mention of football in the Ed Zach baseball handbook, and we need a very strong, maybe even multi-volume APPA football handbook. One of the pressing questions, at least to we hardcore folks and fans, is when did the red and white football box give way to the red and yellow version with that beautiful color photo of the Colts and Vikings on the cover? And we think we've found our answer thanks to one Mr. Bill Horman out of Toledo, which we know is going to host the 42nd Italian Bowl. So, Bill, we might see you out there, but Bill, we're going to thank you for this a great deal, not on this, but what we're going to show you. Now, this is a 1964 game and season set released in 1965 before one of the big revisions to the game. You remember I've said repeatedly that prior to the 1972 original season, you had to calculate indexes for your special teams play. Ugh. Not fun, not pretty. It's just quite unkind. So, now, only a kind of an aficionado would really care about something like this. Now, I won't speculate as to the import of answering a question like this, what impact that might have on the direction of humanity, but I'll leave the details to speak for themselves. When I launched this channel, 12 years ago, in January 2011, one of the first season sets we acquired was the 1967 season set, and we played the Ice Bowl. Popular game. Now, if you had already owned the game of APPA football, you would then just order the season sets, right? And that's where you get into a little conflict in terms of, well, does the outer game box reflect the season set within, or did someone simply buy a multitude of sets and then just keep loading them into the box, thereby kind of confusing the issue as to when that box might have been issued. Now, this is one of our 67 sets, AFL and NFL, and it's addressed to, amazingly, Union, New Jersey. And the postal date is October 4th, 1968. You can kind of see that there, I think. Really faded, but can you? Yeah, it's right there. The light is not great, but so not terribly far from us. So it's also fun, of course, to collect the vintage labels, the vintage games and cards with the labels on them. I'm going to talk a little bit about tips for collecting. So in any case, we already had this, and I haven't posted the entirety of that original version of the Ice Bowl, which the Packers won 34-26. Okay, you could have kicked the point. Meredith hits Hayes at the very last play of the game for the Cowboys to pretty much give you the score of the 66 NFL championship, not the Ice Bowl. But so we had the 67 AFL NFL in what was just the card box, right? But we've now acquired from, again, Mr. Bill Horman, something very important for our collection, something we've been dying to get our hands on to try to ascertain when the red and white box of APBA Football gave way to the color photo box with the color Colts and Vikings photo on the cover. And this postmarked, what is it, November 11th, Veterans Day, Armistice Day, 1968. The White Album era, folks. Amazing, huh? You'd be listening to Helter Skelter and playing some APBA Football. Well, let's see. What do we got? Can we pull it out here? It's the problem with these old boxes. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Now, the reason this is important, by our estimation for the APBA Football Club handbook, is that based on auctions we've seen more recently and years ago when we were really heavily collecting and building our archive to the point where the only thing we needed was the 66 AFL set, which we acquired last year, and that was it. We're pretty well good through the 90s and into the aughts, actually, as well. Just it's the 2010s we're a little short on, but working on. And, of course, you get to buy all the reprints to make the handbook complete. But we've seen auctions of original 1966 AFL and NFL sets featured with the red and white box. Is that 100% guarantee that that is the transition right here between here and here? So at the 67 set offered in 68 was the actual transition to the color photo? Well, that's our best guess for now. That's kind of what we're tentatively going with. And look at how pristine this is. You know, it's just, so let's just crack her open there. I mean, not even, you know, the fact that there's no tape damage on something like that, except just there's always that one little, you know, that's fine. Again, the old crescent roll, you know, the thing where you crack it and you unroll it and oh my goodness, my gosh, this is actually yet another set of the smallest dice on earth. But I wonder actually if these might not be a little more accurate, you know, in terms of balance, in terms of the depth and weight of the pips, or the overall weight of different sides of the dice. That's a discussion for another day. We're just going to put these right in here, because God knows you're going to lose those babies. Now, 1195. It's actually even a richer, almost a little bit richer red on this cover. Okay. Like the codes down there that can kind of get lost in translation as folks get into the game. And this is the old onside kickoff board, right? Just separate, broken out. This is ultimately incorporated into the rules as the game evolved. That thin piece of cardboard one side. But this is pretty much it. The big old envelopes. 67 is when they went, if I recall correctly, they went to the 4 divisions in the NFL with the addition of the New Orleans Saints. And you know you're going to find in here the key indicator, and of course the typography matches. It's that kind of it's a squared sans. It's almost a little squat and a little extended, almost scaled, but you know what you're going to find in here. Oh, well, they fit Wendrahosky's name in there. Windy Wendrahosky, no less. The only game, like I say, we've played with this original 67 is the original Ice Bowl, and there's your indicator right there. Of course, Jim Taylor with the first-year New Orleans Saints gets a 4, short A, long B. Not a breakaway guy, but there you go. So that's why this set is important, of course. In Atlanta, you're going to see the Tabanobis Falcons joining the league in 66, the year before. And let's just find them. because there we go. Right up top there. Nobis versus Taylor. I've always had a fascination with the Falcons versus the Saints. Just great uniforms. And Nobis, now, you would expect this to be a Jim Taylor card, but in fact, Nobis has the 2s at 11, 22, 33, 42, 44, 62, 64, where else? 53. Man. I may just pencil him in at a fullback there for a play or two, just for kicks. In any case, this, of course, was not the most powerful Green Bay team, but it was certainly a team that knew how to win. And there you go. Mr. Boyd Dollar, just 5 and A. All right. And Forrest Gregg and Gillingham and Aldridge, Dave Robinson. It's no joke. Davis, Hank Jordan. I mean, there's Mr. Zeke Bratkowski with a 161. Not too bad. Weatherwax. Some decent darn cards there for those Super Bowl champion 67 Packers. The man himself, Nitschke. And let's just see. Gregg, Kramer, Bauman, Skaronski. You know, we talk about opening the APPA football cards, and the unused ones are usually in alphabetical order. When you pick out a Packers set, usually it's already good to go. Everyone has already checked out that offense and defense, and you pretty much got your lineup because people want to see just how awesome the Packers are. I can't get that thing out. The cards are so thick in this era. Don Anderson, etc. So, now, how did we find the set? And at quite a fair deal, I might add. It's called Read the Comments. Now, someone had posted about a find of another game on one of the Facebook groups, and immediately under that post, Bill came in and said, by the way, just casually, I'm offering XYZ, and one of those was this game, 67 NFL. And then he mentioned in yet another comment that it still has the shipping box, the postmark. Oop, and that, our little, I like to put the little sticky notes on there just to indicate what we got. But, so, you know, this is not the first time that we've had a big find. A year or two ago, we were reading Tom Nelshopin's APPA blog, and you can see when you go to the homepage the most recently commented on posts. And I went to one of those posts and I looked in the comments, and someone had offered up a bunch of sets for sale. So always read the comments and always look in the unexpected place. We all go to eBay, we all go to Delphi, and you know, it pays to look a little deeper into the areas that you frequent. I also suggest, obviously, you've got Facebook Marketplace, and you've also got Craigslist if you do a global search. Now, in terms of guitar gear, I've usually, you can do a global web search for a particular item, and you might find it on these regional billboards or classifieds. I found a really incredible 412 cabinets, 412-inch speakers at some North Dakota newspaper's classified site, and you know, offered to pay the shipping, and we were good to go. And here's another one, another important piece, and we have this version of the great teams of the past, the old kind of paper here, a little hard to read, but just see the form year on it in the back should be, you know, Form A68, never fails. That's how you identify the year. And the great teams of the past, at that point, right at the top, the 41 Pack and Bears, 49 Eagles, 50 Browns, Rams, 47 Steelers, and then Cards and Eagles on the back should be, yeah. And the 52 Lions, and the 42 Skins, 56 Giants, 58 Colts. So, and that 58's Colts great G-top at this point is only about 10 years old, right? And features the newer typography of the 64 to 68 original NFL sets in APPA. And as always, you play read them and weep with the prices. Individual parts are the complete set of NFL league player cards and team envelopes. The 67 seasons of 57, 58 still available. And that's also a telling point for the APBA Football Handbook. The 57, 58 sets, 57 in particular, is not all that uncommon. I understand that's the same with the baseball set. The 59, 60, 61 APBA NFL sets are really, really hard to get. 62, 63, maybe a little less so. 63, maybe a little harder to get than the 62. 64, I think we see a lot of. 64, 65, and then the 66 AFL NFL is just killer hard to get. All the AFL sets, except for that 64 AFL set, are really a tricky find. Let's see if there's any other brochure in here while we're looking at it. And the boards, of course, are in beautiful shape. And that's it. Your big, beautiful boards. ABC. Someone had asked a while back when the ABC began to be used. I think it's the around this era. I don't know if that appeared on the 57 boards, the original 57 to 64 season boards, but we will look back at that. But so very glad to have this in our collection. Always look, read the comments, keep your eyes peeled, make a deal. You never know who's just going to casually try to sell something. Again, Bill in Toledo, you're a godsend. Thank you so much, sir. And hopefully we've closed out this argument with at least 90% certainty that the 1967 APPA AFL NFL season sets released in 1968 are the first year to feature the red and yellow box with the Colts Vikings photo on the cover. That's one of our projects for this year. I feel like we're finally getting momentum. We've had a lot of delays, but we're not alone. January seemed to have taken on a life of its own there. So, and I'll try to distill some more information from the original Ice Bowl that we played. It was one of the first real APBA football games on YouTube at the time. We'll replay that, maybe make that an annual tradition. I'll try to decipher, or rather salvage, some of the footage there, the very early camera on the table kind of stuff. And it's a great game, of course. I think we incorporated a little mod for Bart Starr, but in any case, read the comments, perform global searches, and you might find some interesting games in unexpected places.